Hello and welcome to another episode of my Productivity Mastery series. And in this week's episode, as we're drawing to the end of the year, I just want to go through a number of reasons why, or the main reason why people fail at their New Year's resolutions. Now, the main reason for this is because of the patterns of behavior that you're following every single day. Now, what I mean by patterns of behavior is that every day you wake up at the same time, you do the same thing, you go out the house, usually rushing out the house to be able to get the bus or get in the car or catch the train to your office, where you arrive and you do exactly the same thing, probably checking your email first thing in the morning, and then you go and have lunch with the same people or do the same thing for lunch every day, and then you deal with all the crises that happen at work until the end of your day. When you come home, you pull out a TV dinner from the freezer, you put it in the microwave, you sit down, you turn on the TV and eat an unhealthy dinner, and you repeat that every single day. These are the kind of habits that people are following every day, and unless you actually take the time to identify the patterns that you follow, or the habits if you want to call them, every single day, you're not going to be able to find what needs changing in order for you to achieve your goals or to achieve your New Year's resolutions, whatever they may be. So what you're needing to do is, the first step is to take a look at your daily routines, whatever they may be. Look at the time that you wake up in the morning, look at what you do first thing in the morning, look at how you get to work every day, look at what you do in terms of your patterns of behavior when you get to work, and what do you do at the end of the day when you finish, when you get home, no matter how tired you feel. Now, I see a lot of people wake up at the very, very last minute and they crawl out of bed, they kind of drag themselves to the bathroom where they brush their teeth and wash their face or take a shower, and then they grab something from breakfast, and then they're rushing out the door because they're running late. And when they arrive at the office, the first thing they do is they check email, and let's be honest, very rarely does email give you good news, it just gives you more work. And then you spend the rest of the day dealing with crises, only to have lunch with the same people who are always complaining about their boss or complaining about how much work they've got to do. And then you return to your office and you do more crises until the end of the day, where you come home absolutely exhausted, probably with a McDonald's in your hand or a pizza or something that's not very healthy. You sit down, you turn on the TV and you watch a TV show that you're not particularly interested in. And then you go to bed and you repeat the process the next day. That is an example of a very bad habit, a very bad pattern that you're following every single day. Now, I've given you an extreme example there, and maybe you probably be honest with yourself and say, well, some of those things I do. Well, this is why you need to be able to identify the patterns, looking at what you do every single day. Look for the things that you're repeating every day, not the things that you do occasionally, but the things that you repeat every day. And then ask yourself, are these behaviors or are these patterns or habits really helping me to achieve my goals? Now, the chances are many of them are not. And those are the ones that you need to identify and change. Now, let's take, for example, if you come home at the end of every day, you eat an unhealthy dinner, and you turn on the TV and you're watching shows that you're not particularly interested in, there's a classic example where you need to change the behavior. You need to change the pattern. Maybe what you should do is start taking an interest in cooking and come home and cook yourself, yes, I said that, cook yourself a healthy meal. After you've eaten your healthy meal, maybe you'll go out for a walk around the block, 20 minutes. Now, the reason that you do this is because you're changing the pattern of behavior. Now, when you start changing those habits, changing those patterns, what's going to happen is your life will start to change. Now, change at first is very hard. I know it is. I've made a lot of changes to my own lifestyle this year, and yes, it was very, very hard. I used to be one of those people who would sleep in until the very last minute and then crawl out of bed and turn on the coffee pot and so on. And in June this year, I switched to waking up at 5 a.m., which is an hour earlier than I used to do. Oh boy, did that change my life. Now I don't feel like I'm rushing through life. I don't think I'm even having any crises because I feel like I'm ahead of the game because I'm waking up 1 hour earlier. It's been a game changer for me, and it's a simple change. But I remember way back in June when I started that, Oh, that first week was hell. I was walking around like a zombie in the afternoon. It was tough, but I stuck with it. And what happened was, not only did I start to get better sleep at night because my body was adjusting to waking up an hour earlier, but I also found that my self-discipline was getting stronger. And remember, self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the bigger it gets. And when your self-discipline is strong, you can achieve any change that you really want to, because you can stick with it, because you've got that self-discipline. But what I really want you to understand about in this episode is this patterns of behavior that you're following every single day. Jim Rohn actually said it perfectly when he said, failure is a few errors in judgment repeated every day. That's a few errors in judgment repeated every day. And what he meant by that was, you're doing the same bad things every day. Now, he gives a classic example of, we know the expression, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. You eat an apple every day, you're going to be healthier. If you change the wording slightly and say, a chocolate bar every day keeps the doctor away, well, you know that's wrong. But if you do eat a chocolate bar every day, first day, yeah, no problem. Second day, again, no problem. But when you've been doing that every single day for 5 or 6 years, then you're going to start having problems. You will have probably gained weight. And that's because of your bad error in judgment that you repeated every day. And that's the same with your patterns of behavior. We're repeating these patterns every single day without even thinking about it. And that's what you have to do. First of all, you have to isolate and look at what patterns of behavior you're following every day. Look for the ones that are not helping you achieve your goals, or to achieve a healthy lifestyle, or to give you the energy, and change little parts of it. Now, the final part to this sort of equation is, don't change everything all at once, because that's why so many people fail at achieving their New Year's resolutions or goals. They try to change too much at once. Pick the worst one and focus on that in January. Then pick another one and focus on that in February, and just gradually change that pattern of behavior. So maybe you'll start waking up 30 minutes earlier in the morning, just 30 minutes. And instead of rushing to the bathroom and rushing out the door, you can spend, say, 20 minutes just reading a book, or 20 minutes doing some exercise, just light exercise, whatever you want to do, whatever is related to your New Year's resolutions or your New Year's goals. And that's really the key, is first of all, identify your patterns of behavior, and then change the behaviors that are not helping you to become a better person. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode of Productivity Mastery. It just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very happy new year, and more importantly, a very, very productive week. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked what you saw and you would like to learn more about becoming better organized and more productive, then get yourself enrolled in my free beginner's guide to creating your own COD system. And if you'd like to learn more about how I can help you, then visit my website at carlpullein.com. All the details are in the show notes below.